Inconceivable!
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers gotta hug.
Welcome to the Cheap Seats and Stickman podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special live edition in studio of Cheap Seats and the Stickman podcast. For the first time in our illustrious history, we're recording here in live and in living color. I, of course, am the Stickman, Jose Maldonado, and with me, as always, is my beautiful, big-breasted co-host,
Wow.
Mr. Cheap Seats
Very
himself,
big. Double D's, baby. Very big.
Jason Burgos himself. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm fantastic. I mean, this is pretty exciting. I mean, there's a bit of a nervous laughter going on.
For sure.
I think you have to set up who our special guest in this three-way triple thread menage a trois is.
No, I'm enjoying this.
Oh, I'm sure you are, man. But, you know, there's a special energy in the room, and the reason for that is our very special guest, our good friend and fellow comic book fan, Eduardo Molina, Eddie Molina. Good to have you in studio, man. How are you doing, good friend?
Thank you. I'm pretty honored to be here, and this is actually really good. It feels good, and there's like good energy going on here, especially the double-breasted double D man.
Yeah.
Right next to me.
Don't touch them, though, please.
Oh, please. You know, keep it PG rated for the kids.
Oh, there you go.
See, that's the perks of being in studio. In case any of the fans were listening, he actually did reach out and touch Jason's
Yeah,
stuff.
he had a full Trump moment. He's
It's right there in front of me.
Yeah,
So.
this is the magic you just cannot do over the internet. So we have a very special show for you guys today. What we're going to be talking about is we're going to touch on a couple of tidbits. We're going to talk about the news going on with Deadpool. For anybody that didn't know, there was some conflict on set and on production, should I say, and some changes. Yeah, I hear you, man. I feel the same way. So we'll get into that. We'll also be touching on a couple other things on. Help me out here, Jason. I'm sorry.
The Walking Dead season premiere.
Oh, how could
I was
forget,
gonna
man?
say it's double D's again.
Please.
Those,
See,
they're
that's why I was
spectacular.
distracted, man.
They're real and
Yeah.
they're spectacular.
How could I forget the cultural milestone that was the Walking Dead season
Yes.
season premiere? I'm sure
Yes.
everybody is gonna get into it. And but first and foremost, we have our top 5 comic book movies. Now, not just greatest comic book movies. We're talking about comic book movies that were influential to us, that hold a special place in our heart for different reasons that we'll all explain. And so we're gonna bring that to you guys today.
Howard the Duck won't be one, right?
Oh, I don't know, man.
I think that was Eddie's number one.
I'm looking at Eddie's direction.
I think that was-
Well, no, we haven't discussed it first. We haven't gotten into it first.
That's right. No spoilers yet. No spoilers on the list
You
yet.
can't spoil this first.
So we'll just go ahead and get right into it.
Who's starting this off?
I think I will. I'm guessing since I already have the mic, I'll go ahead and kick this off with my number 5 now.
Tank Girl.
Yes, absolutely.
I knew
You read
it!
my mind, man.
Yes!
See, we got this freaking look right here. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Wow.
No, it was not Tank Girl. Sorry, Lori Petty. Not that big of a fan, but my number 5 is a little bit of a wild card. And even before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even before Spider-Man made a ton of money, even before X-Men showed us what was possible, this movie kind of put Marvel back on the cinematic map.
I'm talking about suspense or not?
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. I'm building up the suspense.
X-Men 3?
Yes, The Last Stand.
I'm so good. Damn it.
We can go ahead and scratch that one off. I'm talking about.
Thank you.
I'm talking about 1997's Blade
Oh,
with Wesley
man.
Snipes. Yeah,
Oh,
This
the
is
first
going to
one?
be very similar, God
oh
damn
man,
it.
we on the same wavelength here, man. That's what I'm talking about, man. We
That's
just
pretty
know.
good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, now the first Blade movie, Blade 2 is an awesome movie as well. Trinity, not as much, and we've discussed that in private.
What? That's garbage.
Yeah, we can leave that one for another
Did not like that
episode.
one at all.
But with Blade, Wesley Snipes taking on the role of the vampire hunter, half-breed, and this is at a time where Marvel was kind of struggling financially.
Yep.
They even had to reach out to DC Comics for a little crossover help.
They did?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, for when they did the comics.
With the comics, yeah.
Oh, so they reached to them.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yes, I
Neither
know
did I.
that.
See,
Yeah,
we're giving you new info here that you may not have known.
And please, fans, if I'm wrong, please feel free to hit us up and correct me on this.
I'm
but-
sure there's gonna be a few.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I hope
Absolutely.
so. That means
That's-
somebody's listening. I mean, that's good.
That's always a plus. But yeah, now 97's Blade, that was the first true, really Marvel movie to hit the big screen.
98.
98?
98, fact check, 98.
98.
Drop the fact check on you.
Oh, good lord. See, that's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Here we go.
But with Blade, it showed that, Marvel was kind of, it was kind of testing the waters. And it was a hit. It was a hit.
Yeah.
And not only was it a hit, it was a really solid action movie. The fact that they would start with a R-rated movie to kind of test out the waters instead of going with a little more proven property was an interesting choice, but it worked out for them. And you know, Blade was kind of influential to where some comic book movies weren't afraid to go a little more adult.
Yeah.
The action was outstanding. Wesley Snipes
Yeah.
was perfect for the role, and
Yes.
Stephen Dorff, who, you know, his career has
Yes.
kind of teetered off since, but he was an awesome villain as Deacon Frost.
Oh yeah.
Blade, my number 5 to start off this list.
I did like part 2. Part 2 had a really good one.
Yeah, part
Is
2.
that your number 5?
No, that's not my number 5.
So
What's your
please,
number
by all
five?
means,
So-
let us know, man.
For my list, I don't know if we're going from top to bottom, but anyway, I'm
Yes,
just
5
gonna.
we're
is
going 5 up
like
to
your
1,
least to best.
Oh, the least to best. Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
gotta like really think about it. But you know what's funny? You actually brought it up. It's actually Howard the Duck.
Oh my god.
Howard the Duck is
Now, how
one of
did
my
I-
favorites. It was one of the first movies as a kid that I've seen, and I didn't even know it was a comic book at first. And I was very into it when I was a kid. Hey, you guys told me to bring out a top 5.
The slow
I brought up a
realization
top 5.
that he's actually not kidding. He actually is going with
Hey,
Howard the
I'm
Duck.
going with Howard
I think
the
we
Duck.
can stop the show here.
No,
It's
no,
just-
we can
no.
edit this
See, I
out
told you my list
until he comes to his
My
senses.
list is pretty sure gonna be different than both of yours.
Well, you know what,
I'm
Let's
pretty
bring some
sure.
variety to the list, and we'll give you that.
The show can only get better from here, honestly.
Oh
after
yeah,
that one, so.
we are
Well,
bottoming
you,
out.
well, you said the bottom to top. I'm like, that was like the last one I had to think about. And I'm like, oh my god, yeah, Howard the Duck.
You're
So please
scraping-
elaborate a little
you're
bit more,
scraping the
Eddie.
bottom,
Why
yeah.
Howard the
It's,
Duck?
it's one of those things that when I was a kid, it was like the first thing I've seen like a duck in real life, like talking, and it's like I didn't even know his origins. I didn't know anything. The villain scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. I'm like,
Wasn't John Lithgow in that movie?
What's up?
John Lithgow, wasn't he the doctor? Oh no, Tim Robbins was
no.
the doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
Tim Robbins was the doctor.
Tim
I think
Robbins.
Jeffrey Jones was the villain.
Okay.
Okay.
But Tim Robbins, I mean, early Tim Robbins.
Yes,
you know, that's pretty crazy.
young Tim Robbins.
See, you
hot-
get into it, right? See, I
and
was a
hot
duck,
young
I'm telling
Leah
you.
Thompson, fresh
Yes.
off of Back to the Future.
Yeah,
you know, now
yeah,
we're
that's
talking.
true. Very
But
true.
it helped me out when I was a kid. You know, I was always into art and drawing out, and you know, it was a really fun and interesting movie to watch.
All right.
So I can't really say anything bad. It was one of like my highlights as a kid.
Well, the fact that you can't say anything bad about Howard the Duck makes you one of the only people that can
I,
say
I, you
anything
know
bad
what?
about Howard the
I
Duck.
seen
Yes.
some bad critics about that, and I'm like, you know
Some?
what? I seen some.
Most.
I seen some, but yeah, you know, as a kid, it was one of my favorites.
I think that movie fully made George Lucas Star Wars man and only Star Wars man.
Yeah, it was a little precursor to the to the prequels,
It
to
was
where he
like,
needs to be
oh.
reined in a little.
I see, I'm pretty sure some fans out there is gonna start writing about this too. And
But
like, he
you-
picked Howard the Duck.
But you're gonna get that
really?
one Howard the Duck fan that is your brother in arms and is like,
If
yes,
if you're out there,
justice for Howard the Duck.
Speak out. You know, don't be ashamed. I spoke out for all of us, for Howard the Duck fans.
Alright.
So Howard the Duck is one of my top 5.
Fair enough, emo. And cheap seats, Jason. What's your number 5?
I got notes here. I'm a very
see.
serious
Oh,
guy.
the-
You have a
man-
2-page note.
It's
here.
I
What's
got
going
2
on?
pages here, stapled.
You fans are listening. He's
very
being modest.
fancy.
You got facts? What kind of facts you have?
I
there?
went to the ultimate source of movie information, IMDb, obviously.
The Holy
that's-
Grail.
That's like encyclopedia of movies, but also very anticlimactic. My number 5 was also Blade.
Oh, see.
I mean, 1998. Oh, wait, I got some interesting facts for you. It was directed by Stephen Norrington, who would go on to direct League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
So I think it's safe to say he peaked at Blade.
Yes,
Okay.
peaked big time. Also fascinating about this, it was written by David S. Goyer. David S. Goyer, if you don't know, he's the same guy who co-wrote The Dark Knight, Jumper, Blade 2 and 3, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, and his coup de grace of writing, Batman vs. Superman.
Oof, man. We know how divisive Batman versus Superman is, but I digress.
But
well,
yeah,
now.
I mean, I liked it as a fan because we're talking about things that are most influential to us, and it was a big deal. It was an R-rated superhero movie. I mean, at that time, superhero movies have really died out. I mean, what did X-Men come on 2000?
Yeah, 2000.
So
Yes,
at that
2000.
point, I mean, Spider-Man was still years away. You know, Blade really made Hollywood realize, okay, this genre has some value to it. And, you know, it was a precursor to the R-rated movies we're seeing with superhero movies. That was the first one that showed how it could be done. I mean, another thing is, as a vampire movie fan, they took vampires and made it cool in a different way. It wasn't all, you know, passion and beautiful as it always is. Like you mentioned, Snipes was fantastic. And another thing, I mean, the fight scenes and the music.
Oh, the soundtrack.
The music
Definitely.
was
Definitely.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
So
Look at the soundtrack. The soundtrack was
yeah, so I mean, Darude, I believe, is one of the songs. And that first club fight scene,
Yes.
with the showers of
Oh,
blood.
that's awesome.
I mean, you know,
it-
so
it really did set it off. You know, then they just took off running from there. And it's interesting that you mentioned that. You know, it was Marvel, you know, kind of testing that out because at that point, Hollywood didn't really know what to do with comic book properties. You know, we had seen some clunkers in the past, and this was, you know, fresh off Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. The Superman movies were long gone with Quest for Peace.
Batman Forever,
so this kind of, you know, legitimized comic book movies as a potential force in Hollywood, and as we see now, that's definitely the case.
And it was weird too because it's like they wanted to try out the genre, but they wanted to go something so obscure that almost the most people wouldn't even know. Like they took something that's already a property that they can just mine, but it was something so like C level. Like Blade's a C, B level kind of character. So when it came out, there was a large majority of people that did not even know this guy's a Marvel character who's fought Spider-Man and major characters.
Most people thought it was like another vampire movie.
Yeah, so it could be in a way a nice little kicker to fans of the Blade, and the other people that don't even know it's just a cool vampire movie.
Right, it's a good entry point for casual fans.
Exactly. So number 5 for me, Blade.
Solid pick, man. Now it's interesting that we had already had some overlay with our picks.
I think it's gonna be many overlay.
I believe so. Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm gonna be the only one that's gonna throw that curveball.
Well, you already set the tone with Howard the Duck.
Yes,
so.
I did. Thank you very much.
Tank Girl better not be too. Oh my god!
You ruined it.
Oh boy.
Is Johnny Mnemonic a comic? Because then I think he'd pick that too.
Keanu Reeves is a walking comic book character, so it counts.
Constantine better not be there either.
Ice-T was in that, right?
I do like Constantine,
Mnemonic?
but it's not going to be on my list.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Okay. Honorable mention.
Now, if we had an overlap with number 5, which I thought would be a kind of a wild card pick, we're probably going to have some overlap with number 4 because I know you're a fan of this too.
There we go.
I'm going with 300.
Oh no!
Okay.
Honorable mention for me. I didn't have
All
that.
right, we're good. We're good. You know, with this pick, I almost went with Sin City, but I went with 300 because personally, I think it's a better movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And the reason I chose it is something that we touched on a little bit with the Blade pick, where this is a comic book movie for adults.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a hardcore R.
That's
tons of
only
violence.
adults.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like tons of violence, tons of sex, nudity, adult themes. But it was a smash hit when it hit in the theaters.
Yep.
And not only that, it set the template for, how you follow the source material to a T. Some movies have done it to a fault, but this done it perfectly. This is the pages of 300 brought to life. Yeah. It's an awesome looking movie. This was back when Zack Snyder wasn't a punchline. It was actually
this was the follow up to Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
so, he was on a roll.
He was on a roll. He was
He
on fire. Yeah, he was the next big thing in directing. And this movie's a visual marvel. I mean, you see the effects. Before the slow motion became a cliche, before the drowned out colors became a distraction in Batman vs Superman, it fit this perfectly.
He did. While George Lucas was the innovator of really using green screen, it was good. It was nice. It was cool. This guy revolutionized the concept of using green screen to like an artistic level. And just amazing. You wouldn't even know that they're just acting in front of a screen.
Yeah, you hadn't seen anything like this before. George Lucas tried it with the prequels, but this here it worked a lot better. Yeah. It fitted a whole lot better, and the end result is a movie that still today is a solid flick. Anytime it's on, I put it on.
Yep.
It's one of the top comic book movies for me and hugely influential in the industry. 300, number 4 pick for me. So, Emo, what we got for number 4 for you, man? And it better not be Tank Girl. It better not be Howard the Duck, which we already had at number 5.
Come on, it was Howard the Duck was my 5th one.
And he's gonna pull out the Fantastic Four, the Roger Corman version.
Yeah, he's gonna choose like X-Men 3.
No, X-Men 3 should have never been made. The old one.
Batman Forever.
No.
I know how much you love Arnold, man. So Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Superman 4. Superman 4, right?
Oh,
wow. With the weird atomic guy.
Nuclear Man.
Yes.
Nuclear Man.
How about Meteor Man? Meteor Man. Huh?
That was a good one though. No. My number 4 pick. I know I was gonna throw another curveball in here. It's gonna be the Rocketeer.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Wait, but is that a comic though?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it was an actual comic.
I looked it up.
Verified this.
Yes,
you researched your sources.
He did the research.
I looked it up and it said comic book movie. I was like, oh, okay,
because
cool.
The interwebs are all truth, and when you look it up,
sure. But I seen some comics out in Midtown Comics. Yeah,
you know what?
I seen some comics.
We will
from it. So I tell you, mine list would probably be the only curveball compared to the two of you. And one of the why the reason I picked the Rocketeer is because it's another fan favorite when I was a kid, and I've always been into flying. And this man had a jetpack,
right?
And he just
childhood
flew,
fantasy,
and he was a superhero like on a jetpack. I'm like, who does that? Like really?
Yeah.
And it's like old fashioned. There's no superpowers involved.
Yeah.
There's no super strength. There's no. It's a man in a rocket. He's there flying. I'm like, it's awesome.
And also, I mean, what's crazy about that? It's so crazy dated now, but for that time, it was good special effects.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Cutting edge back
then. And the thing is, I had like a whole bunch of critics telling me, "Oh no, the Rocketeer sucks. The Rocketeer, it's not a good movie." But I'm like, I went beyond. I went to see it, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. I had a good time watching it, and me as a kid brought like a lot of imagination, and it's again a man in a jetpack. I was like, oh my god, this is like so incredible.
Nah, I'm with you on that one, man. And like you mentioned, the retro look of it kind of lent to that. You know, I love that kind of period piece. And it was really well done. I'm with you on that one. The Rocketeer is kind of a forgotten classic.
And also
man.
influential to come to see because it was a superhero movie based in World War II. That same director would be specifically chosen to direct Captain America for that look and to give it that look, which he did.
Yeah, once you connect those dots, you
movie.
definitely see shades of the Rocketeer in First Avengers. So,
all right, so I'm gonna go.
My pick.
I'm gonna go to my paper.
Here we go.
Notes here.
No, we don't have any papers. We don't have any diagrams on it.
I feel so insignificant.
This is.
I have my little reminder notes here, but this dude got like a 5-page thing going on.
This is
here.
the journalistic integrity coming out, right?
He got an LED screen going behind him too.
I
Just
do.
bringing in information.
I have the laser pointer and everything going on now. Now my pick, recent movie, but I absolutely loved it. Sci-fi. I'm a sci-fi nerd for sure. My number 4. Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a good one.
Because you know what?
One.
This
I
one,
like that one.
This one is a mix of influence and just pure joy. Now I love the movie. That after I watched it, for me it was on the level of Avengers 1. There's been some movies that have surpassed the Civil War, but
that was also a good one.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating about it. It came out 2014. It was a perfect blending of superhero movie and sci-fi, and just on like a Flash Gordon-ish kind of crazy level. It made Chris Pratt, a star,
He's
a
a
superstar.
household name now, and it started there.
And how many movies can take a living tree guy and a raccoon and make them like household names?
Groot.
Exactly. So it's funny and fun, visually appealing, groundbreaking. And the thing that always stands out for me: if there is no Guardians of the Galaxy, there is no Deadpool, there is no Suicide Squad. So for anybody that likes those movies, please thank Guardians of the Galaxy because those wouldn't have happened if not for that movie.
That's awesome movie. I agree with you. I agree with you with that one.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's hard to argue that the influence that Guardians of the Galaxy had because it's a character that, honestly, even personally speaking, knew very little about Guardians of the Galaxy. And me being a comic book fan, there was casual fans that I'm sure never even heard of this team.
Yeah.
They were like, well, what is this? What is that? And it's one of the most beloved.
I was one of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that walked into it blind.
I knew about them before, so I will take credit.
Well, you're the one with the 5 pages of notes, so we expected that.
Before the movie came out, I like Guardians of the Galaxy. Who are these guys? I had to look it up. I'm like, oh, they seem like regular old like superheroes. I'm like, oh, so this would be an interesting movie. And I saw the trailer, and I'm like, oh my god, this actually looks really good.
And also, it was I'm trying to think of a movie like what's that movie with Heath Ledger where he was in A Knight's Tale?
Yes.
That was unique in that it took a genre that always would have a specific type of music and it used rock music blended. This was the same thing. This took a sci-fi movie and blended like 70s hits onto it in a completely original way, and just it's very few movies that blend dialogue, look, visual, and music into this immersive, fun experience.
My favorite was the mixtape. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And the fact that they made the
amazing.
music integral to the plot, which unlike a movie like Suicide Squad, which had a great soundtrack, but it was just kind of throwing things at the wall to make it sound cool, Guardians of the Galaxy made it work to service the plot, and that was really awesome.
And we was talking about that.
Yeah,
like, the whole thing going on. That was awesome.
Alright, so super solid pick with Guardians of the Galaxy at 4. With my number 3, I'm going back a little bit to my childhood.
Okay, good. I
This
like
is
this.
Yeah, this is the movie that was, as a kid.
Howard the Duck 2?
Yes, dude, you are reading my mind here, man. Dude, can you not get over my picks before I give them?
That's what I'm talking about.
But of course, any comic book fan, can think back to when they first started getting into comic books.
I
and
think you're
movies.
going to steal one of mine.
Yeah,
I think we're going to
it sounds like
be
you're
in
gonna
the
steal one of mine,
airport and
too.
we're going to overlay right here.
Yeah,
That'd be
this
the
is
one
right.
we're gonna overlay.
All right, so we might all have this on here, and it might be which one, because what I'm talking about is the Superman movies of Christopher Reeve, but I'm not going with the original. I'm going with Superman 2.
Oh, I see.
Now, are we overlapping here? Are we overlapping here?
Actually, I was gonna pick the. No, I'll pick. Can I say mine right now?
You destroyed one of my top picks. My top picks are going to just have nothing left.
Oh, man.
my
But
God.
it just
I
needs
think
more
that's
to the
the only
discussion.
one that we're gonna
Really?
overlay.
Look at this, man. See, Superman, that just speaks to the awesomeness that is Superman.
All right, everybody. The show's over. We had a good
That's
time.
We
See
hope you
next
enjoyed this
time.
live episode. We'll be back with another one, but...
For me, I was like, I guess I gotta say mine is like to talk about. It was part 1 though. Part 1 actually really started off for me and everything. So
I
thought
can
it
see a
was
lot of
really
people
good.
pick that, but it wasn't that for me. But no, Jose, just continue.
No, for should.
I'll get to my thoughts eventually.
It's really hard to choose between the two because Superman 1, obviously, everybody remembers the iconic poster, "You'll believe a man can fly," and we did. I mean, the first one kind of introduced Superman to a new generation. It made it show that it's possible on the big screen. But for me, Superman 2 is where it all came together. You know what I mean? It got the origin story out of the way, which is a lot of a problem with a lot of comic book properties.
Yes.
And it just got them down to Superman in action. And it gave him three awesome villains to fight.
Yep.
The action scenes were revolutionary. You know what I mean? Product placement aside, where he's getting thrown into Coca-Cola signs and Marlboro trucks. But, the fight on the streets against, General Zod, iconically played by Terrence Stamp.
Yep.
And Ursa and Grog. It was just, next level stuff. For anybody who wanted the comic books to jump out of the page and go onto the screen, Superman 2, more than any movie of its time, showed that it was definitely possible. And Superman 2, for me, kind of, is the peak of the Christopher Reeve era.
And it has such a hard act to follow because the first one, wasn't it nominated for Best Movie?
It was nominated. It got like a special Oscar for special effects, but not Best Picture. I think it was close.
But I mean, it was a big deal, the first movie. And
For sure.
it's a tough act to follow, and this was a time where Hollywood didn't like to do sequels too much. That sequels weren't a common thing back then.
Right.
And also, it did something that was great for the time, but sent the wrong message by creating its own villains that had not existed to that point. And it sent a message like, oh, we can make whoever we want. And it took away from the usage of good villains, but in this case, it actually worked out real well for them.
Yeah, it's funny that they kind of, gave a little teaser to the three, because they got sent to the Phantom Zone in part 1.
Yes.
And then they got busted out in part 2. So
Yeah.
it's almost like
Which
foreshadowing, which kind of, if you look at the
Great
Marvel
job.
Cinematic Universe now, that's hugely
Yeah.
influential.
Yep.
So.
And they could have brought that on in any part, really, because they could have held them back from part 2 and
Yeah,
put
yeah.
them in part 3.
Completely.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll discuss more from Superman 2 in a little bit, because there's a lot more to talk about. But yeah, that's my pick. Eddie,
Well,
what's
like
your
I was
number 3
saying,
here,
part
buddy?
1, he started off part 2, but part 1 was very influential to me because, like, when I was a kid, I was a big superhero fan, and Superman was one of them,
Okay.
for DC Universe. And it just, opened my eyes, like, with Richard, Christopher Reeve as being Superman, and he did an awesome job as being, like, a regular Clark Kent to being Superman. And the effects back then was, like, totally different from any movie now, and it was, like, so simple, like, straight to the point. And not to take away from part 3, like I was like conflicted with like all the parts. Richard Pryor played an awesome part in part 3.
I guess.
Come on,
That's
he-
That's
It was
the only
good.
good thing about
That's
that
kind of
movie.
where it took a little turn.
Weird
Yeah,
robot
but,
woman at the end.
Hey, you know
He
what?
was
That scared
cool.
the crap
Yeah,
out of me.
well,
when I was a
yeah,
kid.
well,
No,
it
you know
was
what?
weird.
You know what's the
Traumatized
best
by it.
part of that movie?
What's that?
Where he fights himself.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
That's good.
yes.
That is
That's pretty
legit.
good.
That
But
is
he
legit.
splits, and it was kind of like a whole bizarro thing
Yeah,
going
you
on.
gotta
That
love
was the whole
Superman with
thing.
5 o'clock shadow, man.
Oh,
That's
it was
just
awesome,
like,
man.
the chain.
That's
He's
the
like
sign of any bad
flicking
guy.
the peanuts in the bar
Yeah.
to the mirrors. I'm like, oh, it was cool. But part 1 actually opened up with a lot of stuff for me.
So it's
It was
one
good.
is your number 3
Number
pick.
1 was my pick.
I'm
You
really
wanna
surprised
pick-
that you
Alright,
guys
solid.
you had them as high as I thought. That'd be lower, but
No, we got a love for Christopher Reeve, especially recently.
Christopher Reeve is
revisiting the
awesome,
movies.
man.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air, especially with some of these, CGI heavy effects movies that are coming out now. Seeing the practical effects kind of lends a little charm to them. That still
Exactly.
holds up.
That's what I said. Like so simple effects, nothing over the top.
yeah.
Simple, straight to the point.
Yep. Well, for my number 3, relatively recent, but seeing the age of these movies makes me just further feel that much older. My number 3 is also a sequel of a big deal series. It's not Spider-Man 1. It's Spider-Man 2.
Aha.
Wait, which one?
The good Spider-Man 2.
So we're not talking Andrew Garfield here.
No,
We're
I like
talking-
him, but no. We're
right.
not talking hack level, what.
That was a good one.
Hey man, I'm with Eddie on this one, man.
That was a
But
good one.
Again,
I'm
that's
sorry.
a conversation
That was
for
a good
another
one.
day. But we're talking Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 here.
The silence is just me trying to gather myself.
Yeah,
from the
you
ridiculous.
know,
Go ahead, go with your
Jay
little.
just went
my
the
cheese
3 shades of
and
Grey.
page,
cheese.
Please. Lay it on.
But
Analogy
yeah,
here.
I mean, the first one was a huge moment because you had X-Men knocked it out the box, good solid movie, big money. But this was the one that just bam, superheroes can be a blockbuster. Like they can be the biggest movies of the year, and up until for I think maybe 4 or 5 years, that was the highest grossing movie.
Yes.
Like the last 20
was
years.
up
at
Yeah,
that
I'm not
point.
sure if it was the first one or the second
Oh
one.
no, it was the
but
highest
yeah.
grossing weekend. That's what it was.
Yes,
It was
okay,
the
that's
best
what it was.
weekend ever for a
Right.
long time.
Yeah, the first Spider-Man movie was the first one to crack triple-digit millions
Yeah.
for the first weekend.
Yep.
So yeah,
and
you're
so
right.
it was
You're
a
right.
big deal. So following it up with the second one, you can go. And this is a history of at this time where sequels went bad. Like the Batman movies, some of them went bad. At least the second was good. But I mean, this was so good in that it took elements that was so good in the first one, the fun, the humor, the heartfelt stuff, and just took it to another level. The action was big, and what I love about this so much, and it's still a standard bearer for me, is it had such a good villain.
Yeah.
Like it was a villain you fell for.
Doc Ock,
yeah.
yeah.
It was a villain that you understood. You know, and the special effects were so good. The fights were so good. You know, it took CG action to another level. You know, at that time, and it was just so significant for its time. Such a big deal. I mean, it really. I think it laid claim and let everybody in the entire industry know superhero movies are legit. You know, there's a humongous fan base for them, and they're here to stay, and you're going to see a bunch more to come, which we have seen since then, and that's why Spider-Man 2, number 3 for me.
I'm just so happy they didn't pick part 3. Part 3, oh my god, that's a whole different conversation now.
Well, we're doing worse, and we're doing
people-
top 5
Oh, shit.
uninfluential, non-influential.
That's what I'm saying.
That's on there with a bullet.
That'll
my
be
God.
there.
Now,
You know,
we may also
with
see Howard the Duck come
and
back
the
on there. You know,
Rocketeer.
Hey. Howard the Duck and Rocketeer are way better than that one, alright? Thank you
I
very
hope you don't
much.
choose it as your 5 and your 1, because you love it that much.
double dip, man. Why not? But
You know what? Just for that, I'm gonna do that. Why not?
oh, look at that, man. But I'm gonna snatch
Top
that index
2.
card out your hand.
Top 2 time. This is
All
where
right.
it gets real big.
We're getting
it's
up
like
there,
the
man.
championship rounds now.
We're talking about the cream of the crop here in terms of
Top 3,
influential
let's
towards
go.
us. And this one here, my number 2 pick, is influential to me and the industry just because I couldn't believe that they pulled it off the way they did. And that's the Avengers of 2012. You know,
Okay.
You know,
Alright.
yeah, you're talking about
Really good.
the Marvel Cinematic Universe started, with Iron Man in 2008. They tested it out. It was a huge hit. Robert Downey Jr. knocked it out the park. Incredible Hulk followed, but it didn't start legit until all the sequels started to come out. Iron Man 2 started to come out. Then Thor got his own movie. Captain America got his own movie. And they were all really quality movies. So you're wondering,
Are you looking at notes? You're looking at notes?
No, I was looking at my index card. Have that list of my movies. Thank you very much.
Hit your
Unlike
paper,
your
hit your
pride
paper.
He's just trying to
page.
compete with you, brother, man.
This is my index card, and this is his. See how louder?
Eddie has a post-it.
Mine's is like you can't even hardly hear mine's on the mic. No.
We
it's
are a
totally
little
different.
intimidated by the amount of research you came into this with, man.
But I already messed up in my order. But we'll keep on going.
Oh, yeah,
Keep on talking
sorry,
about it.
interrupt your number 2.
You're
No,
interrupting
please.
him.
Yeah,
Come on now.
sorry.
Hey,
The
yo, don't
Avengers
worry
is
about what I have in
first.
my
It's
hand.
time, man. But
Go ahead, Avengers. Go ahead.
it was just amazing to see how they brought it all together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, because each movie was quality on its own, and it's a lot to kind of package into one deal. And the Avengers pulled it off. It was an incredible comic book movie. For my money, still the most entertaining comic book flip. You know what I mean? Like in terms of entertainment value. Pound for pound, the Avengers is it. And it shows that it can be done
have
at
like
a
the
high
separate
level.
movies they had because it makes it a whole lot easier to bring them together.
That's exactly right. It kind of did the opposite of what DC was trying to do now, to where it introduced each one on its own, and then they brought it all together in this amazing package with an amazing villain. They picked the right villain for that. Loki.
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston with his
Awesome.
charisma.
And that could have been bad since he was already used in a movie. That's not.
Yeah, and people just wanted to see more of him,
Yep.
and it also set the blueprint for the Marvel Cinematic Universe to come and introduce Thanos.
Yep.
And
And the Stones, it kind of started foreshadowing a little bit.
yeah, so I mean, the Avengers. What can I say? It's one of the highest grossing movies of all time. It's the bar. It's number 2 for me. It just really made it a happy day to be a comic book fan.
No, that's good. That's good.
All right, man. So Eddie, number 2 here.
What I was talking about by my index cards, thank you, is because I messed up the order.
Look at
Christopher
you.
Reeve, the Superman, was actually number 2.
So you're
but-
scribbling on that thing too.
So yeah.
God.
So this one is I have to name it because now I messed up the order. It's like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
This
Yes.
is the worst
The
list
movie that
ever.
we mocked earlier in the podcast.
Exactly.
We made fun of.
Is your number 2.
You made fun of Howard the
is
Duck.
going on?
It's okay. You
I
can
told
tell
you
us.
my list is a curveball.
You can
Thank
tell
you
us.
compared to whatever you guys think.
You picked the wrong Stephen Norrington movie. It's okay.
No,
you can
no,
tell
no.
us. You can
That's
admit
a
it.
really
You know
good
what I mean?
movie. Think
Blade
about
was
it.
the one you were going for. You were going for Blade.
Visually, it's really good.
Are you
Look how they
confused?
did. No,
Do you
it
think
was
it's supposed to be the
really,
5
really
we
good.
hate?
No, see, that's maybe the ones you hate.
All right, I gotta hear this. Eddie, please tell us why was
Jekyll and Hyde was like one of my highlights as a makeup artist. Like the way they transformed this guy into the beast that he was.
Oh, I thought you meant
everything-
this guy's toupee, because it was really nice in that movie.
Well, that's fine. It could be a
and
toupee.
the giant
It doesn't
top
really
hat
matter.
that transformed along with him.
It was really
It's
good.
like,
You can say whatever you want. I still enjoy the movie to this day.
I personally, I couldn't get past Captain Nemo's Nautilus, going through the streets of Venice without breaking the thing. Did you see the size of that ship?
That was good navigation.
You tell me.
He's a good driver.
How?
Did you see that?
Yes, I saw it and I cannot believe
Did you
it.
see his car?
How can a ship
Oh
that
my
big
God.
go somewhere canoes can barely go through?
Dude,
Are
the
you
city of
Yeah,
Venice should be
he
in
had some
ruins after
awesome
this
shit.
movie. Ruins.
That ship, a submarine ship. Hey, it was really good. He drove that really, really well. But just visually, everything was really well done. I liked it. People say bad things about it, but if you think about it, everything was
You know what?
good.
In
When
all-
I think about it, I think everything was bad.
You know what? In all fairness,
Hey, my list is a curveball from everybody else's. So hey,
that was like a knuckler.
That's why that one
That
was
was
not-
an Ephus.
that one, that's
bitch.
my number 3, and then Superman was number 2. That's why. That's
mean,
why I had to bring it out there.
We
But
did
hey.
say influential to us, and by golly, Emo really went with that theme, man.
Yes.
This is really sticking to it. So,
Influential, I'm
hey,
not going for like the highest grossing movies. I'm not going for like it's whatever I liked and whatever was influential to me, and that was influential to me.
Do you have any more influential stats on it? Or your post-it? Anything
No,
else
see,
good?
you have a 5-page. My thing is just a list of what influential movies
List the
I have.
top 5 movies
and
you
I'm
hate
going from the top of
and
my
everybody
head,
else
like what I
hates.
can remember from it. And visually, that movie was well done for me, like in the visual aspect.
There are aspects I do. I did like Dr. Jekyll. I thought that was good.
Yes, and to see
I
like it
think-
wasn't all CGI, like it was all him in a suit.
I mean, the only thing is the guy he fights at the end just looks weird. The red dude.
ooh, yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah,
a
like,
little out
but-
there.
And you know what?
That's just a guy on heavy steroids.
Sean Connery was a good pick. He was just like 25 years too late.
A little bit.
You know, when you can noticeably see that it's stuntman Sean doing all the stunts, it's like, But, you know, I mean, it's not, it's, yeah, I mean, there's good elements. It's not a
It
disaster.
just brought
but I just,
it brought a lot of different characters together to form a team, and I
Yeah.
thought
You know-
for me it was actually a really cool idea for somebody to bring that into movies. And the visual effects, like I keep saying that, and I like the way the visual effects was playing off.
That's fair. I mean, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was always kind of the Avengers for book nerds, so
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
kind of cool to see on the screen. I give you that.
And at the least, it brings attention to those books, which are hugely unique and interesting books. So at least somebody goes
Yes.
and watch that. Now, you know, my number 2, I'm hoping it's full JFK layover overlay, and I hope I got both your picks. I'm thinking this might be it.
All right,
My number 2, 2008,
all right, I'm out.
The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Did we get a overlay?
We did not. Get
No, because he's
overlay. The
got
Dark Knight
Batman
is
Forever
clear.
or something, so that's a different Batman movie.
What? How can you not like the nipple suits? Those nipple suits are awesome, damn it!
You just like Jim Carrey in tights, man.
Oh,
That's
what-
what it is.
who doesn't?
I mean, I think this is. Now, it's not my favorite pick, but I think still to this day, you can argue this is the best comic book movie ever made. Like, because this is the first time a comic book movie was just, oh, that's the best comic book or adventure movie of the year. No, that was one of the best movies of the year in general. Like, that a lot of people thought that should have been nominated for best movie. I mean, not to win, but to be in the running for it. It was that good.
As a matter of fact, it was one of the reasons that they expanded
Yes.
the list from 5 to include 9,
5,000.
10.
Now,
Yeah, exactly.
yes,
Pretty
now
much. Yeah.
5,000.
So
It was really good.
But I mean, just unbelievable. It took what was good about the first, it just took it to a whole other level. It's honestly to this point, and Ben Affleck has a lot to live up to. It is the quintessential Batman movie to me. Like, yes, it's based on a more realistic life, but it is Batman to the fullest. I mean, it has, along with maybe being the best comic book movie ever, it has maybe the best comic book movie performance ever.
And who could we talk about here? Who could we be talking about here?
Michael Caine, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
He
come
was
on.
fantastic.
He was
I mean,
iconic
his
as Alfred.
Alfred, it just broke my heart. But no, the Heath Ledger was unbelievable. I mean,
Man.
just one of the best performance of the year. If he could have been nominated for Best Actor, Joe, he might have won that too.
He actually
I mean,
did win Best Supporting Actor.
He won
at the Oscars.
supporting.
He did.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it just unbelievable movie. I mean, he made huge money. It finally made people go, okay, comic book movies are a genre, but they are just good movies in general. They're not a niche kind of thing, and it was to me a complete utter game changer for the entire genre that is comic book movies.
Yeah, man. There's no getting around it. Dark Knight is a classic of the genre, and like you said, it's not just a great comic book movie; it's a great movie.
Yep.
I mean, a great detective movie, a great action movie.
Yep.
It's just, it's hardcore. Tires to the floor, just hitting on all
And-
And we
cylinders.
was talking about that movie earlier, like Walking This Way too, and I didn't even know it was gonna be his top pick, but
That's number 2 for me.
It's number 2, so you still got one.
One's already been ruined, but anyway.
Oh, that's right, that's
but
right.
you know, it's
But no, I was saying I didn't know it was gonna be a pick for you, but we was talking about that movie on the way over here.
because
And that's a really good movie.
It's
Yeah.
a movie I love, but it's like that's the first time I think if you go back that it just had like one of those first comic book movies that it started really bringing in insane acting talent.
Yeah.
You know that late like X-Men had good talent. Had Halle Berry, Hugh Jackman was unknown at the time, and Patrick Stewart was a big deal. But you know they really didn't get a lot of big actors. That was the first movie where I think actors saw, oh, you can do this, and it's really great material, and it can, for a talented, creative person. And ever since then, and then Iron Man with Robert Downey, it's just comic movies it's gotten to the point where everybody's been in a comic movie or show at some point. So, but yeah, number 2 for me, Dark Knight.
The Joker played an awesome part.
Unbelievable.
Heath Ledger was incredible, taken way too soon.
And it's
that's one of the things that we was talking about on the walk over here. Like Heath Ledger, like playing as Joker.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It made
I
Jared
love
Leto's
it.
job that much harder to
Yeah.
have to follow that.
Yeah, for sure. Heath Ledger, and he was following an iconic performance by Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Back in
But at
89.
least
Yes.
he was lucky enough to have been 15 years separated, something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that.
Maybe
It was,
more.
almost
This
20
guy
is my
Leto
opinion.
had to take on the greed of DC and do it like what? So the 2008, so 8 years later.
8 years later,
he had to top that.
And on top of that, by most reports, he got handcuffed, and edited
Yeah.
out. It's kind of butchered. Hopefully, he'll get a proper shot.
Yep.
In a Ben Affleck movie, because he does deserve it. He has some interesting things.
He might
in
not
Suicide
though,
Squad.
because Deathstroke's going to be the villain of the Batman movie. So I don't know. He's still not going to get his own movie. But in a weird way, that's why you maybe shouldn't have even used Joker, because he's already been in 2 movies. Are you going to have a third movie with the third Joker as the third villain? Like, it's been done already.
You gotta switch it up.
Yeah, that's true. It's like the Green Goblin with the Spider-Man movie. I do not want to see him
Yeah.
touched for a while.
Exactly.
So, all right, that's fair. All right, so for the number 1 pick, now, being that this was influential movies to us, this one's a very personal pick.
I think you're gonna overlap our minds.
I'm not sure, because it's same character that Jason Hanford's number 2, different movie. Going with the 1989 Tim Burton.
I thought about that.
Batman.
See?
I thought about it.
I told you you're gonna overlap our
We're
minds.
overlapping on this
Yes.
one? Alright, so we can talk about this together then, man.
Overlapped our minds, man. Come on.
Tim Burton's Batman, 1989. I was the perfect age, the perfect storm for this to hit. I was 8 years old when this movie dropped. It was the
Dang it.
biggest thing going. This was everywhere. You see the gold Batman shield on movie
Yeah.
posters, on the subways.
I think Michael
You see it
Keaton
everywhere.
nailed it too. I'm
And
like,
that is so funny because there was such an uproar. Before there was, the internet with all these
Yeah.
comic book nerds coming up in arms over every casting decision.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton was not the choice that fans wanted
Because
to
he was
see.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, you know,
He
this
was
is-
Batman. This is Beetlejuice.
Mr.
Batman.
Bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
But this dude, he was so pitch perfect as Batman and as Bruce Wayne. You know what
Yes.
I mean? was
Is
just
he
like-
your favorite Batman? He's not my favorite Batman.
He's still my favorite Batman.
he is mine.
He's still my. I love Christian
I
Bale to
didn't,
death.
I didn't like his Bruce Wayne.
I like this Bruce Wayne.
I thought his Bruce Wayne was too cold.
No,
It wasn't
he
Playboy enough for me.
He separated Batman and Bruce Wayne. The Playboy one, I think he did a really good job. It wasn't like a lavish, like he's out there spending
But
his
that's
money type
Batman.
of thing.
Batman's got to put up a fake facade that he is kind of loud.
But he did put himself out there. He went out there. He dressed in suits.
I
Went
mean, he
out to
stooped
parties.
Vicky and Catwoman. I mean, he didn't go. He didn't really mess around too much.
What I liked about Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne is that, unlike Christian Bale, who's the perfect kind of playboy, kind of happy-go-lucky, and Val Kilmer and everybody else who was charming, he was eccentric.
Did you mention
And you
Val
figure-
Kilmer? Really?
Yes, I did.
His Batman wasn't terrible. It
wasn't.
wasn't George Clooney.
No, man. Yeah, we all know George Clooney was the man of all Bruce Waynes, but I like that this one had a little bit, kind of a kookiness to it, kind of an edge to it. It was a little bit different, and you figure somebody, like Bruce Wayne, who had that much money, that much to spend, lived out in the boonies in this, in this, isolated mansion, would be a little bit off.
Yeah.
And people saw that in him, and he kind of brought that. That scene with the Joker in Vicky's apartment where he just kind of snapped at him, you know what I mean?
You want to get nuts?
Yes! Come on! Let's get nuts. And
That was a good scene right there.
But see, to me, that was too much Michael Keaton.
Yeah, that was very
He was just
Beetlejuice.
being himself,
It was
yeah.
Beetlejuice. I give you that, but I think he brought something to Bruce Wayne that we haven't seen anybody else bring.
It was
the Same way,
different.
yeah, it was something different. The same way Jack kind of brought what he brought to the Joker role. It's super iconic. This was a role that people were dying to see because Jack Nicholson at this point was at the height of his powers. He was Jack being Jack.
Yes.
And there's a lot of Jack. The same way Keaton brought Keaton to that to that scene especially. This was a lot of Jack in makeup.
And the
It
point
was
that you
awesome,
make
man.
about Keaton being disliked, the Jack Nicholson getting Joker was overwhelmingly loved, which is interesting because I wouldn't have thought of him if I was an older man, but everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson being a part of Batman was like, whoa, and
Yeah.
they had to pay out big time.
For sure. And he's still seeing residuals. He's still seeing freaking money.
You know
from
what
that
thing
movie.
I loved and hate about that movie though?
What's that?
Prince soundtrack.
Ooh,
A little
okay,
weird.
really?
I don't know.
Really?
Prince as the soundtrack of Batman is a
How
little
could you
strange.
not like the parade song? Come on now, trust.
Like, I like
That was
it, but I don't
that was
like
a funny
it.
scene. Come on, that was a good
It
one.
was supposed to be funny though. I
Well,
don't
this is
know.
the Joker
Joker
we're talking about.
about here.
That-
He was expressing his art, his
Yeah.
inner art in it. You know,
But,
it was
but
good.
in terms of influence, this movie just
Yeah.
cannot be denied. This, from the debacle that was Superman 4, this brought comic book movies out of the ashes. It was a huge monster hit. You know, Adjusted for Inflation is still one of the top movies of all time. It was everywhere. It changed how comic book movies touched merchandising, because this was a merchandising machine.
Yes.
And it was just it's very Tim Burton-esque, but he brought a vision that's yet to be replicated. I love the sets. I love everything about it. This was the movie that for me made me a Batman fan, and that's very important to me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it did a lot for a lot of people as well. That's why I got this in my
Also of note, still maybe to this day with the Superman theme, that Danny Elfman Batman theme.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One of my favorites ever.
Yeah, for as much as you don't like the Prince soundtrack, the Danny Elfman score is one of the greatest ever put to film.
Yes.
Absolutely. So.
See, since you picked the same one as me, I said everything that I had to say, but also like one of the things that surprised me when I first watched this when I was a bit younger was that Batman was killing in the movie.
Yeah.
Something that you don't see him doing in comics or anything. But no, he was out there like cracking necks, and even like suppose he killed the Joker at the end of it and everything.
It's funny you mentioned that, because there was a huge uproar with why Batman was kind of going a little too far in Batman versus Superman. But revisiting the Tim Burton movie, he was killing people back then.
Exactly.
So.
He was like going way beyond like we know what Batman is known for.
Right.
And but everything about that movie was actually really well done with Tim Burton's like flair with the whole darkness in it. And I do like the way that he separated Batman from Bruce Wayne. It was a nice separation. I think he did a great job in it, and to this day, I still like my top picks.
Yeah, I can't argue. I mean, very anticlimactic for me, but we already talked about it. And my number one is Superman 2. Now, this was the first superhero movie I really liked, and this was what. Like, I don't like Superman now, and I really haven't liked Superman since then, but that was my guy as a kid.
Please, this is your top pick, man. It's all good. Even though it was mentioned earlier, please, play it up here,
1980.
Add into
Come on,
it.
what did this mean to you, bro?
You have your statistics, 5-page.
You got the notes, the big notes.
Go.
This one page is just for this.
Yes, go ahead.
But, I mean, it was so meaningful, still to this. That's crazy that a movie in 1980. Now, part of it is the aforementioned Zack Snyder's, fall from grace, but a movie from 1980 may still be the quintessential movie of a character.
That says a lot.
Like, for me, Dark Knight is the quintessential Batman. That could be debatable, no problem with that. But for most people, this Superman was the main one, and especially Part 2, for a lot of the same reasons you said. And the reason why I like Part 2, because as good as Superman 1 is, I'm always a stickler for, I lost, so I'm just going to go fly around the planet and have the time go back.
Redo.
Yes,
classic.
There was none of that in this. In this, it was, he's a threat. I mean, there's a humongous threat. It's a connection to his home. He has to be this champion of the human race that he doesn't get to be, because he gets to be the hero in silence in the first one, because Lex Luthor is a small time threat that's all in the shadows. He's out in the public. He's in the middle of the city. He's saving people in buses. He's flying. I mean, you further the love story with him and Lois. I think in that one, that's the one where he meets her in the roof and they fly off, or is that one?
That's one.
That's
one.
one.
Okay.
That's one.
Right,
This is the one where he kind of gives up his powers, and that's an interesting part of the movie too, where he kind of touch on that.
That's right.
Yeah, the pressure that he has to carry of being Superman, and he's willing to give it up for Lois, but then he realizes it's his responsibility.
Yep.
So I like how he reversed it with the villains. That's awesome. The way he did that.
And what's also is Lex Luthor in the movie, and Gene Hackman's great, and he becomes like this facilitator type that they just kidnap him, and use him. And there's nothing better than that scene where the three bad guys are in the Daily Planet, they're threatening Perry, and Superman shows up, and it's like, and this guy's fighting three people.
Hello, Zod. Want to step outside?
Yes!
Stuff like that is just so cool, man.
I mean, he's flying, and there's a hole in the building. It was just unbelievable. And still to this day, one of my favorite actors ever in a superhero movie. He's up there with Robert Downey and Chris Evans and more. Even I like him even more than Hugh Jackman. Like, he just embodied everything you want to be Superman and what Superman should be. And I will watch the movie and be, fascinated and entranced by his performance. Amazing.
Wait, there's something you guys gotta explain to me, because you guys didn't mention this in either one. It's like when he takes the S out of his chest.
That was ridiculous.
What is
and
that?
It becomes saran wrap.
No, it wasn't a bad thing. It was out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what is that?
And it's not to say this was a perfect movie.
Yes,
there are some flaws.
No, yes. That made a whole lot of no sense.
Like, it wrapped him up, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. I'm like, what missed that.
Yeah, I mean, also to not. I mean, they created these bad guys, but they were so good. Zod was such a good bad guy and so influential. The comics created him. The comics said, "Oh, you know what? We need to put him in. Why haven't we used that?" I mean, it just, one of a kind, great. Like you felt the threat. Fantastic.
One of the most quotable movie characters in comic book lore. You can still see Neil before Zod signs at Comic Cons to this day. He was super iconic. Again, it's hard to argue with Superman 2 as an important comic book movie. So
see, we all had good choices.
Yes, allegedly.
You know what? My choice. I told you my choices was a curveball compared to both of yours. Okay.
I would say I'm gonna go watch Howard the Duck now, but I'm not. I'm just not going.
You better.
That was like that. I don't know. I mean, that was like 12-6 curveball. That wasn't like a nice little gotcha. That was, and then that out of nowhere.
I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of fans out there that's gonna start commenting on that part. But hey, it was a good movie.
If you're all shaking your head like we are over there, we understand why.
Yeah, please feel free to hit us up.
So what do we want to move to next? Do we want to break into Walking Dead, or do we want to talk more Deadpool?
Let's go ahead and get into Walking Dead, just because this was a huge deal over the weekend. In case you were living under a rock, season 7 premiere, Walking Dead.
Just warning you now, spoilers.
Huge spoilers upcoming. If you do not know,
Rick died.
Yeah. Sorry. You had one job, man. Can you not mention that before we get the spoiler alert out there?
Michonne's the leader now. She's dating Negan.
You knew it was coming.
But the funny thing is, I'm not much of a fan. I don't watch this on a regular basis. I don't run home to watch this. I was watching because Jose here was actually watching it. He saw the ending of last season. Then I was like, oh, whatever. I got interested, and I started watching the first episode of the next this new season. I'm like, holy crap! Did this just happen?
Yeah, it's actually awesome that you're here to talk about that from a casual fan's perspective, because for anybody who follows the show, season 6 ended with the cliffhanger of the introduction of the villain Negan. Who anybody who read the Walking Dead comic books, Mr. Jason's here raising his hand. He's the villain. He's the guy. You know what I mean? And everybody knew he was coming, and they knew what was coming. So they left it in the cliffhanger of who is Negan gonna off from the core cast. And we got our answer with the season 7 premiere, and it just broke hearts all across the country. Jason, if you want to talk a little bit about it.
I mean, it's something. I mean, I've read almost all the comics, and I'm just up getting the last graphic now. So I've read everything. I've read everything up to Negan, what happens with him, and everything. And this is something as a fan I've been waiting for like 2 years now, and I really want to see. And the thing I loved, a lot of people were upset by how the season ended, and I wasn't upset at all because it harkens back to classic TV. Classic TV leaves you on a cliffhanger. That's the best way to end a season.
Sure.
Make them
Will
come
the
back
dynamic
for more.
duo come back from this to the next
back
week?
to back? So I love how they did it. So, and what's crazy is this is going to be huge. I mean, I read a story today. Now, they haven't gotten the full ratings of the show out yet, but they had one very obscure, weird stat. They had a stat for what the show did in Central Florida. Because
That's not like in the woods, man. Don't you knock Central Florida.
Central Florida is just a hub for television and culture. But Central Florida, supposedly, the ratings, I think, jumped by 150,000 just in that small section of one state in the country. Now, 14 million people watched the show last year. I don't think it'd be shocking if it jumped up to like 17, 18 million. And 17, 18 million for a TV show, you have to understand how nuts that is.
In this day and age, with so many options and so many distractions, for it to pull that kind of an audience, it's a huge deal.
To like compare, like that's popular shows like The Flash, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., they get around 3 to 4. Those are popular shows that have steady, consistent fan base, and they get 3 to 4 million. So to add 10 plus million to that, it's a staggering number. But what I just thought, and I thought it hurt me. It made me mad and infuriating, but it was some of the best storytelling you will ever see on TV, based off a comic book. It was just spellbinding TV. Amazing. Just amazing.
I just can't wait for Rick to do something to this guy. What's that guy's name again? I don't know.
Negan.
I can't wait to for him to get his.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for.
And that's the beauty of it.
And I don't watch it on a regular basis, so you gotta tell me about it.
And trust me, if they go by the comics, and that's the great thing about the show, they deviate and they keep a lot of stuff in the comics. There's a lot of things in the comics, like for example, Daryl's a major character in the show, not even in the comics.
Right.
Doesn't even exist in the comics.
He's an invention to the show.
He's the man.
And if they follow the comics, man, I agree with you. I can't wait to get Negan gets his, but it is going to be a slow burn. It ain't going to happen soon. They're going to go through a lot before
it's going to be a hard watch.
Yes.
And you mentioned keeping true to the comics, but yet changing things up.
Yep.
And it was personified in this episode. I guess we can get into it. it wasn't one character that got offed, it was two.
Yes.
And we're talking about
And
Abraham.
I was surprised with the second one
The
because
sec-
that came out of nowhere.
But that was the traditional one.
That's the whole thing. He's the
That's
one that
the
got
thing.
offed in the comics.
Yes,
Well,
same
I
way.
heard about that. Like he
Yeah.
did, and like you know,
Yeah.
he's actually in the show
Yeah.
for a very long time, and he was like supposed to die a long time ago, I guess.
No,
yeah,
he dies in this exact moment in the comic.
Yeah,
Oh,
Same
okay.
exact
It was
moment.
for issue 100 the same way, unfortunately.
Yep.
But you're right in that it was surprising to where, you know, Abraham was the first to get killed, and you thought, all right, well, that means that this character is safe from that. But nope.
Yeah.
Glenn got it too. Glenn got off.
But
He
it's
was
just the way it
second character.
happened. It's like
Yeah.
he gets like his like it's somebody, you know, wasn't it Daryl punches him, and then I don't know.
He didn't
it's
even
like,
get to punch him. He got
No.
shut down real quick.
Oh, he lunged.
No,
I
he
could have sworn he
lunged
got
at him.
he got a sock and he didn't get.
I thought he didn't get it. I
Yeah,
thought he
he
got
was
stopped.
punching. He got punched.
Oh man.
He got punched in the
right?
face.
He got stopped. Yeah, that's
Oh,
the thing.
he-
He got
He
stopped.
He got hit.
No, he got hit.
Or did?
He did.
Oh.
Daryl got
So
up
Daryl
and
got
went,
one in.
wow. I was like, that's the freaking man.
And little
yo.
things like that is why Daryl is such a beloved.
But on
character.
that level, they got what they deserved.
Yeah.
He-
But that's true. But I'm
acted
thinking
out
like
of turn every
Daryl.
time.
I'm thinking Daryl's gonna
Oh,
get hit
man.
somehow, and I'm like, I don't know why. He just said, well, another one. He goes, brown of a Glenn, right?
But
I'm
that's the
like,
thing.
holy crap!
I had forgotten the season finale. He said, "If anybody gets up, I will shut that shit down." I forgot
Yes,
about that. He
yes,
reminded,
he did.
and that's what the thing about a great villain, and that's why it's great writing. Because if they would have just, they could easily be like, "Oh, these characters are beloved. You know, let's just change it up and make them last, and we'll find a way around it." No, this show takes risks, and I love it, just like the book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the why he's a great villain. He didn't like say, "Okay, no, we showed them enough. They got what they deserve. We'll get them back." No, you messed up. Another one of you are dead, and it won't be you. You'll be guilty for the rest of your life because you are the cause of another man's death.
Yeah, now Daryl's
And
gonna
a-
live with that. He's
and a
gonna
father.
hate that.
A man who is about to be a father and a husband. You cause him dying, man.
Dude, he's there trying to speak to his girl while he has his
Oh.
head bashed in and his eyes is like out. I'm like, holy crap, what is this?
And that's another thing about this show. You mentioned how it's spellbinding television, and it pulls no punches. Because
No.
when Abraham got off, he got off, and you know Abraham loved that dude. He went out like a champ.
Dude,
You know what I
suck
mean?
my nuts. That
Yes,
was like
man, that is like
awesome. Suck
Awesome
my
last
nuts.
line to the end. But with Glenn, with Abraham, they showed him get off, but they kind of cut here and there.
Yeah.
With Glenn, we saw every gory
Yes,
detail,
yes.
and it was so rough to watch, especially since he was such a beloved character from the beginning. To see him get his like that, man, you don't get that in many shows.
Is he a character in the comic books?
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Abraham?
He's an OG. I mean,
Yeah.
I think now after his death, there's only about 3 or 4 characters that are from the very beginning that are still left. Like he's an OG. That's why it's such a painful death to the fans because Abraham is a key character, but he came late in the show. He's developed a fan base. Glenn. Charlene, we talk about it. He was the third character introduced. That's like still around, a key character. There was
Yeah,
Morgan,
he was there from the
and
beginning.
he met him in Atlanta. Like he was there from the beginning. Like this
Yeah.
is. To see him die and like that's what the acting grabs you because all the actors and they built such a good relationship with him and Maggie and the two actors have good chemistry. So watching her cry and then, the one difference in the comic is in the show he says Maggie I'll see you again. I think see you
Yeah,
again.
that's
right?
what
Which is-
that's when
find you.
I'll
yeah,
find you.
which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's smart writing
Such
too.
a great one.
In the comic, it's almost more heartbreaking because he's like shaking and like having a seizure, but he just this guttural yells out Maggie's name
Oh,
and then
man.
gets hammered. And,
Oh,
and in the
wow.
comic, it's just even more painful. But either way, so well done.
So wait, clarify this. Like Abraham was like in the same time that Glenn died, or
no,
that he died.
that's why the show differs. I'm pretty sure Abraham already was gone by that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In the comics, it was only Glenn that got killed at that moment.
Yeah.
So with the show, they
Oh,
added
alright.
Abraham, kind of suckered everybody. All right, Abraham's the one to get killed. Nope, you get Glenn too.
Yeah,
Wow,
full on wrestling swerve.
Yeah, absolutely,
Perfect.
man.
It's
Vince
just-
McMahon would be proud.
Yeah.
And it's a total debacle.
Total.
But yeah,
that was
and-
crazy, though.
And just one last thing to touch on that real quick. You mentioned the acting. I gotta give Andrew Lincoln a ton of props on this episode.
Man.
He was so good and so heartbreaking as Rick.
Yes.
You see him just run the gamut of emotions towards
Oh.
the end when he was broken. You believe it. It
Yes.
was so tough to see. So tough to see.
And I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I mean, I knew when they casted him, he was a good Negan because he's as sick as he is. He's one of my favorite characters in the comic because he's a sicko with charisma. And the thing about him compared to the Governor, for the people that watch the show, the Governor was really a crazy man. He's really sadistic. He's unhinged. He's already
saw a few
lost
of
it.
those. Yeah.
He's unhinged. Negan knows what he's doing. He's smart. Yes, he's a psychopath. He'll kill you, but he'll kill you with a purpose. And that he's trying to survive. He's an alpha. He's going to do what he wants to him to survive and live comfortably in this world. He's not going to just willy-nilly kill people. There's a reason to it. And just think about it. I've had this debate with people. If your friends got randomly killed, like 20 of your friends, by somebody sleeping in the night, chances are you'd probably want to kill somebody too. And the fact that he only did 2 for 20, he took it out easy on them. And in a way, they're lucky.
The fact that you're trying to justify Negan's actions,
psycho planning.
I will give you credit for that because
Yeah.
that's the beauty of the show because Negan is such a putrid character, but like you said, it's spellbinding and in his mind justified.
Yeah.
The fact that he was like, "Get my axe," like I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna break him," but he didn't break him till like the very end.
No, Rick is incredible. Rick's been through so much in that
He's
show.
like,
He's
ready to
incredibly
pop.
durable.
That's just the whole thing. It's like he's ready to pop if he hasn't popped already. It's like,
Man.
get my axe. I'm like, man, I'm gonna shove this axe somewhere. That's for sure.
All right, so the next little bit of news I guess we could touch on here is for going back to the comic book movies. Deadpool had a little bit of news this weekend, and it's not good news, unfortunately. Seems there was a little bit of clash during the production between star Ryan Reynolds and director
Tim Miller.
Mm-hmm. Tim Miller. And unfortunately, it resulted in Tim Miller leaving the project, and it seems that the big sticking point was the casting of Cable.
Yeah. There was other stuff too, supposedly.
Really?
Yeah. Did you get the story I sent you from Humberto Gonzalez?
Yeah.
I mean, Humberto Gonzalez, if anybody doesn't know, he's one of the premier sources in Hollywood to get a lot of comic book related stuff. I think he worked for Latino Review at one point, and now he works for The Wrap. And he was talking about one, it was the casting. 2, they were differing on the direction of it. Now, in the quotes from the article, they said that Tim Miller wanted a more stylized version. Now that doesn't mean it's not going to be funny or anything like that, but the great point they made, and that's why it makes it all the more disappointing that he got fired, is that Tim Miller supposedly did the special effects for free, using his own special effects studio. Because remember, this is a movie on a budget, and 20th Century Fox, no matter what they tell you, they had no promise and hope for this movie. They didn't expect any expectation. They were just thrown out there and see what happens. And he did that, and Ryan Reynolds supposedly wants to stay more raunchy comedy thing, and that's fine. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. But it was also that, and the other interesting thing, and this is what really kicked Tim Miller out, is that when the movie came out, big hit, Ryan Reynolds, as every big star does, renegotiated his contract. In his contract, he now has control over casting and creative control.
How is that?
Exactly.
That's dangerous.
Now, when you have an actor...
Why would you give him that power?
Because that's how Hollywood is. Hollywood panders to the star less so than the creative, the visionary force behind it. Now, he was a key part, but everyone involved with this says Tim Miller was just as equally important a part and is just as equally a big comic book fan as he is.
Yes. And the movie was awesome. I'm like, why would you give that one actor that much power? Don't get me wrong, he's a great actor.
No, he's not.
I saw him from...
He's good as Deadpool, but other movies...
No, Deadpool
is
is good.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh my god, what's the movie that he's in college?
Van Wilder.
Van Wilder, thank you.
That's
another favorite of mine.
Yeah, that's a solid, funny movie. He plays the same role. He's not an actor with range. He plays the same kind of snarky, sarcastic guy.
But as Deadpool, he was awesome.
And
Deadpool was right as well.
That's his career-defining character, but he's not a guy that has range to really do anything really, high thinking. That's why.
That's why he didn't do so well in Green Lantern, because that wasn't like his role at all.
Yep.
But
How
Deadpool
not that?
on the money. But like to give him that much power over the creative feel of it, I'm like, that's just that just boggles my mind.
For a man that decided to do Green Lantern and Wolverine Origins, I mean,
oh my God,
he's had some bad movies in his time. So
he needed this. This was kind of the movie that put him back on the map.
Yep.
And to his
Yes,
credit,
so why would he
fought
ruin
for
it?
Yep.
Yeah, he fought for it. And I guess now he's a little power hungry on that. But Eddie, I know you were a really big fan of the first one, with Tim Miller involved and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, how are you taking this news? You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
are you kind of,
Deadpool,
are you a little more worried about the project now?
I really am, at this point, because the first movie was actually really awesome. I was like, I'm not into the Deadpool comics as most people are, and the little bit that I know of him, I'm like, oh, I showed it off in the movie. Like the way he is, like the way the comic relief is, the way that he knows that, he breaks out the fourth wall. Mm-hmm. It was all done really, really well. But just to give that actor that much power and to maybe ruin the next movie knowing that this is what made him put him back on the market. I'm like, I don't agree with the decision they made at all.
I'll make this point, and it's not a death knell for the movie because this is not uncommon in Hollywood where you have an actor that has a lot of influence on a movie. I'll give you two big ones. Tom Cruise has long been a producer on Mission Impossible movies, and they have been very successful, and they've almost gotten better with time. Now, he knows he's got a good job. Two, for all the faults I see with the series, Vin Diesel is a producer on the Fast and Furious movies, and these are huge hit movies. I think they're so flawed, it's ridiculous, but they fit.
How could you not like the flying cars?
I was just gonna mention that.
Who doesn't?
I was just gonna mention that. You didn't like that? That's futuristic right there.
Who doesn't have a race car, helicopter, gunship fight in the middle of Los Angeles and no one gets in trouble?
That was great.
Who doesn't do that?
At this point, they're the Avengers in cars.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, these movies are work, and Deadpool isn't going for an Oscar. So, I mean, it can easily work, and you can find a director who can be just as good. But, it's almost like a sports team. The Cavs got lucky in that LeBron's in charge of the team, and it worked out. Yep. But most times when the players are running the thing, players need to play, coaches need to coach, and that's how it usually should be. Because for every Tom Cruise and Vin Diesel, there's a bunch of people that didn't work out with.
Right.
But it's like you said, like if it's not broken, why fix it? I'm like,
exactly,
it works so well with the right there being in the first one. Yeah. So why change it?
Well, they also said in the Umberto Gonzalez story is that they had friction, those two. They supposedly weren't big fans of each other. So that probably influences it too. But even if you don't work good, you're not best of buddies. You're making an amazing product. You have magic on this thing.
Yes.
Figure it out. I mean, figure it out. And that's where the studio needs to step in and say, guys, come on, we could try to work this out. But a studio will always side with the star, and that's what happened because of his contract. Tim Miller got and he left on good terms because he's probably going to work at Fox or something else. But it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it leaves a bad taste in
really
your mouth. And if the second one fails, does the blame fall on Ryan Reynolds?
It will. It will. I mean, it's going to. And the funniest thing,
I wouldn't want that burden.
Oh yeah.
This is where some fans can be a little silly. I don't know if you saw it. There was a story that came out on several news sites that a fan put up a petition to get Quentin Tarantino to direct it. Which makes no sense. Whoever put that out there, you're out of your mind. Quentin Tarantino's a director that has complete control of his movies.
Yeah, and the instant he signs on, this is no longer a Deadpool movie. This is a Tarantino movie.
Exactly.
All right, and Tarantino is an awesome director. Has singular vision.
Yes.
He's not right for this project, folks. He's not.
No.
So that's a bunch of nonsense.
That's another thing we was talking about on the way over here too. It's like Quentin Tarantino has his own vision, his own direction, but I just don't see like a Deadpool coming out of his like imagination.
No.
It would be crazy interesting. No. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's a good fit.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, do we want to talk about the Netflix news too?
I guess we can talk about it.
We've got a good hour. I mean, we could just throw it in at the end. It came out today. Netflix is going to take on $800 million of debt. Now that sounds bad, but it's real morally. You can look at it more like $800 million of extra cash that they're going to use toward their original content. If you've noticed as a Netflix, if you have it as a subscriber, the movies on Netflix aren't very good. Now documentaries are fantastic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the regular movies are pretty slim pickings because their original content is so fantastic. They're on par with like HBO making good series now.
Yeah, Netflix pretty much their bread and butter now is their original shows.
Mm-hmm. So they're going to use that money and to make their good shows, better shows. And I think for a lot of people the rates are going up. But just to think about it, in the story I was reading, they supposedly gained 3.57 million subscribers in the third quarter of this year alone.
Ooh.
That's 3 million new people just this year. So if you're thinking, what would probably be around them? Because that's a fascinating thing. That Netflix is almost like the magician of the TV movie industry, that they tell nobody anything. It's all secrets. It's all shadows. So no one really knows subscriber numbers, rating number, anything like that. But even if you factor, let's say they have 20 million subscribers, which is pretty good because they're in Europe, Canada, the U.S. 20 million subscribers paying $12 a month, 12 times a year. This is big money.
That adds up real quick.
It does.
And then also they were saying, like, to give you an idea how much money they use, that they need this 800. Supposedly they signed Chris Rock to a 2 comedy special deal for $40 million.
Wow.
They also have a new show which I think is supposed to be
money.
to be based on like 90s hip hop or 80s hip hop scene called The Get Down. Rumors
yeah.
are it's costing $10 million an episode to film.
Really? You know what?
Yes.
I see like the first 3 episodes of Get Down. It's really pretty good.
Well, then the money's being used
Oh,
well.
yes,
because
so.
it's a lot.
I haven't
It better-
finished it
it
yet.
better be a
but
return on investment.
my brother's seen all of it, and he tells me it's a really good show going on. You know, and I'm the one that told him about it.
Yeah.
I'm only up to the 3rd one, but it's actually really good.
I mean, and they have so many shows. I mean, Narcos is very popular. Peaky Blinders. I mean, and also, what's the greatest thing as a fans? If you love the Netflix Marvel shows, you're gonna probably get a whole bunch of them because that's one of their
yes.
top deals, and that's what bringing. Because even in their shareholders' statement, Luke Cage was one of the things mentioned as the reason for getting 3 million new subscribers.
Really?
It's that, the Narcos season 2, and Stranger Things. Which, if you haven't seen Stranger
That's
Things,
another
you're
one,
missing
Stranger
out.
Things.
You're
Oh, yeah.
missing something in your life if you haven't seen
I already
Stranger
finished the
Things.
2nd episode. You the one that told me. Jason is the one that told me
Yes.
about that. Told me it was really good, and another close friend of mine actually told me it was really good. I'm up to the 2nd episode, and actually it's really interesting.
Fantastic
It gives you like
show.
nice 80 feels with the music and the effects, and everything's really good with that one so far. So there's no negative. I can't say anything negative about it yet.
Oh, yeah, and you'll be amazed to hear that I actually have watched 2 episodes of Stranger Things. Can you believe
Wow,
that?
you watching
Yeah,
Netflix
yeah.
episodes?
Absolutely.
I heard
For
stories
the
about
whole
you.
listening public, Jose really doesn't like TV shows for some reason, especially Netflix
It's kind of a
shows.
running gag in these here parts, but
Wow.
yeah, as much as I mean, come on now, as much of a comic book fan as I am, I should be all over these shows, but I'm just come on now, I'm just lazy. What can I say?
Oh, well, how hard is it to press play?
It's very
I know.
hard.
I know.
It's
You just,
right us in the
you
thumb.
just
It's getting
up,
old.
down, side to side. They have the arrows to guide you on the remote.
Is that what they
And
are,
it says
man?
okay in the middle.
I thought they were just
play. That's awesome.
elaborate volume buttons.
I think the
Wow.
fact that Jose has not seen either Daredevil shows, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage, we can give him some time
Blasphemy,
on. The fact that
blasphemy.
you see that, I think that might be more offensive than Eddie's pick of Howard the Duck in the top 5.
We
I
still
think it
going
might
back
be-
to that,
Those are
man.
harsh words,
We already
man.
we already talked about all that. You
That's-
guys, you
that's
already
deep,
talked
man.
about that. No,
Oh, bro, we ain't never gonna let that one go,
Nah,
bro.
nah.
Hey, it was one of my top 5s.
You know
It's
what?
still staying up there.
You're owning it, man. I give you credit for that.
You already
man.
recorded, save it, send it. That's it.
I mean, I had a good time doing this.
Oh, this
was
is
fun.
a blast.
Oh no,
man.
thank you for inviting me. This actually
Hey,
is a
you're
blast.
You're a very
We're
good
happy to
guest.
have you,
You
man.
Oh,
should do
thank
them
you, thank you.
often.
I
man.
appreciate being here.
No problem, man. Eddie, where can people find you, man? Is there anything you want to
Oh, that's right. They can't find him because he doesn't use social media.
Wow, we're gonna talk about that now,
Oh,
huh?
Mr. Molina,
So-
you're off the
Wow,
grid. So.
there we go.
So being that you are so elusive,
Yeah.
where can people contact
Can they
you?
find you on the dark net, maybe?
What?
Are you on the dark net?
net?
Yeah, do you go there?
No, sometimes.
I heard
but
there's a
can't talk
popular
about
attacker
that.
named the Jester. Are you the Jester?
He has a Bitcoin account that he set up. man. That's what's going on.
wow.
We're still going on with this, huh? So we went from his Netflix watching
we
to
did.
this.
That's how we do it. All deflection, like Donald Trump right here, buddy.
Smoke signals work for me, I guess. You want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah, yo, please, smoke signal, Eddie, at any point.
At Smoke Signals, at smokesignals.com.
There you go.
For me, you guys always know Twitter, Cheap Seats Chat. You can always look me up there. Jose?
I'm at Stickman Cinema on Twitter. You can hit me up on Facebook. Stickman Cinema has a Facebook page. And please, feel free to hit us up. And we love hearing the feedback on the show. If you have comments, corrections, you think we're idiots, please let us know.
I don't think I would have
Yeah.
started this since you guys made fun of me about How the Duck. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate mail. Like, How the Duck
should.
really do that?
No,
Really?
please.
And we'll be
send
sure
him
to
hate
forward
mail,
it to you.
please.
We'll show you.
Oh,
every single
mail?
page.
Please.
What is this? The 90s?
Oh,
Hate
wow.
mail?
There you go.
Hey,
There you
mail?
go.
Do you have a mailbox? Maybe that's where you can get a mailbox. Eddie
I
has a
do write
P.O.
letters.
box.
I do write letters.
You can send fan letters to
Yes.
Eddie at, to us, your P.O. box.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hey.
we're on the Merv Griffin show now. That's great. But as always, we thank you guys for listening to the show.
Guys, thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
We
and a
got to do this
pleasure. It's
again.
awesome working with you guys. Awesome. Thank
We
you.
got to bring you back, man. And until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Stickman, Cheap Seats,
And
Cheap-
Eddie.
signing off, man. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you guys next time, guys. Say goodbye.
Later.
Kinshasa!